Do you remember Nightcore? A simple combination of sped up pop songs and anime covers. With its saturation on the internet in the early 2010s, it feels like an unavoidable part of internet culture. Where did this phenomenon come from? Why was it so controversial? And does it have lasting effects on the way that we consume music today? When most people think of Nightcore, they think of three things: pitched up vocals, sped up instrumentals, and low-res anime covers. Sounds familiar. But the roots of the genre can actually be traced back to DJ TNT and DJ SOS, a Norwegian duo of trance DJs who began working together for a school project in 2002. The duo would form under the name Nightcore because they were the core of the night, so you could dance all night long. I don't really know what that means, but this was the first use of the term Nightcore, so that's pretty neat. So how did a Norwegian trance project create one of the biggest pieces of internet culture? Well, it's not that simple. While they were responsible for the name and some of the early stylings of Nightcore, it can also find strong influence from happy hardcore and J-core music, part of the Japanese electronic waves happening in the latter half of the 2000s. Many of these songs would include a Vocaloid, one of the earliest uses of artificial intelligence in music. This program, developed by Yamaha, would create the sound of a human voice using voice packs packaged as anime characters, the most common one being Hatsune Miku. Adopting the aesthetics of Japanese electronic music, this combination of sped-up pop songs with anime covers was an instant hit on the internet. As new remixes would pop up every day garnering millions of views, its trance roots would completely disappear, as the term Nightcore became used for any sped-up song. There was a time in the early 2010s where practically every song ever made would have a Nightcore edit. Pop-punk, dubstep, rap, the possibilities were endless. A cult following of Nightcore enjoyers would arise in the 2010s, many of them saying that they preferred Nightcore over the originals of most songs. Why was this? What was it about a song being pitched up that provoked that kind of response? While there isn't anything concrete, there are a couple theories. The simplest being, our brains are wired to associate speed with energy. Meaning if you hear a song you already like at a faster tempo and a higher pitch, it sounds more energetic. Also, raising pitch or moving it up the frequency scale can bring new life to a song by triggering parts in the brain that the original song just wasn't hitting. Another reason could be our attention spans. The human attention span has been steadily decreasing since the Y2K era. Essentially, ever since the home internet was introduced, our attention has been for sale. Growing up in a time where you could get information faster than ever, is it possible that the effects trickle down into the way that we consume music? It has undoubtedly changed the way we consume other media, so maybe it's not that far off. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, so more on that later. By the way, if you're part of the 99.9999999% of people that are watching this video right now that are not subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you could go subscribe real quick. It takes a second. It's completely free, and if you like this video, there is plenty more like this on the way, so go subscribe. Thanks. For years, this pitched up sound would dominate the internet, with some remixes even surpassing 1 billion views, but not without its controversies. In its early introduction to the Western world, Japanese culture was still a bit taboo to the average American, especially in the music industry. This would ultimately hurt the growth of J-core in America. So when Nightcore adopted its aesthetics in a much more shallow way, it felt a bit ingenuine. But that wasn't the only thing they were stealing. The music was often just sped up versions of existing songs, completely unedited. It essentially became a goldmine for anyone with access to Ableton in the early 2010s. Because all they had to do was speed up an existing song, upload it with an anime cover, and potentially get millions of views. This is why there was so many of them, as they were just easy to make. All you had to do was take a pop song and put it up like 2 semitones, and bam, you have a Nightcore song. But how did Nightcore inevitably meet its downfall? There was another genre on the rise with a lot of similar qualities. In the late 2010s, PC music and hyperpop began its climb to the mainstream. Using pitched up vocals, fast tempos, and flashy visuals, this genre became everything Nightcore was, but better, and much more authentic. Rather than just stealing trendy aesthetics, early hyperpop and PC music was purposeful and cutting edge. Trans artists like Sophie and Laura Les from 100 Gex would pitch up their vocals to combat gender dysphoria and sound more feminine. Likewise, the stereotypical pop production was laced with abrasive sounds to serve as a commentary on the often soulless production of pop music. This genre exposed Nightcore for what it was, a ripoff. This may have been the end for Nightcore, but it wasn't the last time we'd hear sped up pop songs. There was an app taking over the internet that would take them to the next level. TikTok is an app that needs no introduction. Short-form content was on the rise, and our attention spans were on the decline. Dance trends became a staple on this app, and trending music would soon follow. Music became an integral part of the app as creators started to realize what pairs really well with short-form videos? Sped up music. As new trends started to form with sped up pop songs, they spread like wildfire due to the nature of the app. Artists like Cafuné and Sped would jump on this trend, uploading official sped up versions of their songs for TikTok creators to use. This resulted in legacy songs like Lights by Ellie Goulding and Atlantis by Sped receiving millions in streaming bumps a whole decade after their official release. Functioning very similarly to Nightcore, these sped up remixes were fueled by nostalgia, oftentimes becoming so popular that they would re-enter the Billboard charts. It became clear that TikTok and sped up songs were controlling the industry. Artists releasing alternate versions of their songs was nothing new. It was common for artists to release radio edits, remixes, or acoustic versions for promotional purposes. However, they would rarely surpass the original in streams or enter the Billboard charts at all. These sped up versions were the opposite, oftentimes bringing new life to the popularity of a song. They could revive a song that hasn't trended in decades. So was this a bad thing? I think it's subjective, but personally I don't think so. After ditching its shallow aesthetics, Nightcore became known for what it really is, sped up music. The way people consume music has changed, and ultimately, as long as the sped up songs are like official releases and not bootlegs, this trend offers another way for indie artists to thrive. Whether it's sped up, slowed and reverbed, or just the original song, people from all across the world are discovering new music, and that's the important part.